And we're back. I know this seems to be really dragging, and I'm sorry. So I'm going to be really succinct in my last two uh, in my last two reviews here. So we're going to jump right into it. We've got Green Hornet number 12. So this is now the second issue of Phil Hester's, who took over after Kevin Smith's completion of, basically the adaptation of his screenplay of what should have been the Green Hornet film, and unfortunately was turned into this Seth Rogen, piece of shit that is due to come out, I think, either this weekend or next. Um, I don't know if it's going to be a piece of shit. It looks like a piece of shit, okay? And there's no way in fucking hell that I'm going to go see Seth Rogen as the Green Hornet. I just don't buy it for a second. So, fuck it. Anyway, but the comic is awesome. A comic book, it starts to establish a really weird, if there is to be a kind of Commissioner Gordon type character in this particular universe, and if this particular issue introduces that guy to this universe, that would be really funky, because they're really going a different way here. But hey, that's what it's about. It's about mixing it up. It's about, let's not always go for familiarity here. Let's go for something that's really, out of the box. And they do. I mean, still saying if here. So it's not necessarily, giving that right up, but it could. And if it does, that's going to be really interesting. But consistently, it's a beautifully drawn book. I think Jonathan Lau is the name of the artist here. And obviously, as I said before in my last review of a Green Hornet comic, Phil Hester taking over for Kevin Smith is a pretty natural transition, since he took over for Kevin Smith after Kevin Smith departed Green Arrow. After helping that reboot. I don't know what Kevin Smith and the color green have in common, but it's just seems to be working out pretty well so far. Of course, all the covers, by Alex Ross. So I mean, that's, at least all the main covers. There, of course, there's always going to be a variant cover in this day and age, pretty much for any kind of high market comic. But good stuff. Definitely check it out. But I'm going to go to my pick of the week right now, which was definitely the best, most unusual, and just coolest comic of the week. And that is Ultimate Captain America #1. Okay, so this is not how we're used to seeing Captain America. With an AK-47 in his hands, and we're used to, the other iconography here, but, this rifle here, that's a little bit off kilter for him. But that's Jason Aaron, who has written this miniseries. It's going to be, unfortunately, only a 4-issue miniseries. I would kind of like it if they did a full run of Ultimate Captain America, because if it continues to be this badass, then that would be something I'd really like. But, it ain't going to happen, so I'm not going to waste too much time wishing that it will. This very strong debut, as far as a title is concerned. For those of you who are familiar with the Ultimate Universe, you definitely know that Cap, he's not, there's no super soldier serum per se. It's a kind of a mix of steroids and so on and so forth. And Cap is not the, kind of shining icon, he's not the kind of shining icon of, the guy who just uses his fists and his shield. This is definitely, Cap is a killer. He's not shy about it. He's not shy about taking a life. An enemy life, of course, but he's not shy about it. Cap has, in our Earth, our 616 universe, the regular Captain America has taken a life or two. It's impossible to think of him in World War II as not taking a life, but I mean, that was part of, I think, what his appeal was, is that he didn't really do that. And that's kind of what Brubaker talks about in his in his early run on Captain America is that he didn't really do a lot of the killing. A lot of the killing actually was done by Bucky, because Bucky was, kind of a born advanced scout. He worked very stealthily, and he did some of the things that, were pretty unpleasant, and maybe a little bit too unpleasant for the image of somebody like Captain America. But I mean, in this issue, it starts off, quite literally with a bang, and it just keeps on going. It's basically, there is, another country, North Korea, that looks to be developing a super soldier program, and Cap and some SAS guys, that's the British Special Air Service to you, they ride in and they break up the party, but they're confronted by a masked man who beats 6 shades of shit out of Cap. And in what is possibly one of the coolest reveals of the year so far, well, I'm sorry, of this year, of recent comic memory, our villain is the Captain America of what would be the worst era, I would say, in American history, at least war-wise, which is the Vietnam era. So yes, while Cap was on ice, there was another Captain America that took his place, and it was during Vietnam, which was, as we know, not a good war for the American people. So this is the Captain America of Vietnam. Some of you may remember the name, some of you, when you hear this name, may know it right off the bat, but his name was Frank Simpson. For those of you who don't recognize the name right off the bat, then you will recognize this name. He is also called Nuke. And for those of you comic fans who have obviously been living under a rock or are younger than maybe 14 years old and have never read Daredevil Born Again, you have no fucking clue who I'm talking about. But those of you who are a little older, who are a little wiser, and have read the greatest single Daredevil arc of all time, you have read Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli's Daredevil Born Again, and therefore you know who Nuke is. And yes, in this version, he's got the tattoo on the face, and he's a total psycho, and you don't want to fuck with this guy. But Cap will not stop until he's, hunted this guy down and done the exact same thing to him. Whether he's going to end up killing him or not, we don't know. But Jason Aaron, he's, admittedly, I have not read much of his stuff. I know that he did Punisher Max, if I'm correct in that. I believe he also did DMZ, Scalped, for Vertigo. I believe also belongs to Jason Aaron. These are things that I have not read, and I feel really bad, and I'm going to probably go into my comic book store and maybe get some trades by Jason Aaron, of Jason Aaron's work, because if this issue is any indication of how well he writes, I'm definitely going to be on board for some of his stuff, because it's damn awesome. So check out Ultimate Captain America #1. So really, this week, pretty damn good week for comics all around. So we're going to be back later on this week. We're going to talk more about maybe some games, some stuff like that. Oh, and I played the demo for Dead Space 2 last night, and which is probably why I couldn't do this as soon as I would have liked to, because I was still kind of overcoming the unrelenting pants shitting horror that game pretty much sets up, because just the demo is pretty fucking terrifying. So the game itself, is going to scare the living crap out of you. So that's a good thing. So that's it for the Shadow Gallery for at least the next couple of days. So we'll see you later. Take care, and goodbye from the Shadow Gallery.